going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here, Dean 78904. If you want to get all technical as far as the DFS streets, that is the handle. 5:30 on the East Coast, 2:30 West Coast, 4:30 Tennessee time. So, of course, that means it's time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. What is it called? It's called Grinderslive. Joining me today, it's such a good slate. It's so much fun. We're rolling out a three-man booth. We're not messing around. Batting first, leading off. You know, Andre's got to bat first because he's been absolutely smashing. I don't know if you've taken that in any tournaments in the last couple of days. I've not seen the screenshots there on Twitter, but I know you've been scalding hot all season long. And speaking of scalding hot, weren't you? Were you in Arizona?
Yeah, I was in Arizona last week, so I couldn't play out there. I've just been trying to get back into the swing of things this week. But yeah, it was 117 degrees out there. It was no joke. I don't recommend going out there in the summertime again because you can't do anything besides go to pool parties, which is always fun, and go to some games, which I got to check out baseball and basketball game.
Were you at the pool in Arizona?
Oh yeah, I was at a couple pool parties. It was too. We can't discuss that on. We have to discuss that afterwards because a lot of stuff went down there. That was good though.
I wasn't. You didn't. But I'm at the actual pool in the park in Arizona. But I guess that's a whole other thing. There's a pool in the outfield.
Oh really? There is. I didn't even know that. I was there, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, like in right center field, there's a pool in Arizona. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back there now and check it out because I'm sure the Celtics are going to the World Series. I mean, going to the NBA Finals.
How was the basketball game? You're not a Suns fan though. You're just there because you like basketball.
I love basketball, and it's just I was hoping that there was going to end up like that. It did. So it was a great game. Game one was fantastic. Devin Booker put up his first 40-point triple-double. He's a great, phenomenal player, and just the experience and being in that crowd, that atmosphere was amazing. Nothing compares to it, honestly. Maybe Brooklyn when I was there for that last game, but that was about it.
Were your seats next to Suns and 4 guy?
Oh no, I wish. I think he was over like in the next section by me, but
he's like a celebrity now.
He is, and his shirts are still selling out there because they keep winning. So,
I saw a Suns and 4 action figure sold for like $7,000 action figure. So it's like a starting lineup. I guess sold like $7,000 on eBay. Apparently, I don't know how this happens, but
I should have got a shirt then and sold that online.
Oh, what up, Will? As far as you have any thoughts? As far as it's a 7-gamer. We have plenty of time to talk about baseball. Hey, hi chat. Do like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We appreciate all that. Fire off your questions. Devin is compiling them. Will, you have any basketball thoughts before we dig in as far as baseball? Are the Suns? Are we going to see like a Suns Atlanta finals, which is or whatever the mix is? It's not what anybody expected.
I don't think we'll see Suns Atlanta, but here's what I will say.
That'd be lit though.
Can everybody just go back? I'm going to take my victory lap. Before the playoffs started, Dean, I think we talked about this. I've talked about it on air extensively. I talked about it on the morning grind. I said if anybody's going to the finals, the dark horse was the Suns. And I don't know if you remember me saying I don't trust the Lakers, right? And why didn't I trust the Lakers? Had nothing to do with their talent level. Had everything to do with the lack of continuity throughout the season. When LeBron can't play and AD can't play and Drummond gets there late, you need continuity in the NBA. I don't care how good you think you are. You can be the best player in the world. Look at what happened when Michael Jordan came back after a big layoff and they got beat by the Magic. Like you've got to have some continuity. And when you don't have that, I'm not picking you to go. And so I had the Lakers getting bounced anyway. And then it just opened up for the Suns to just kind of run away with this thing. Now, Kawhi being out is definitely contributing. I'm not going to – that's not – but Chris Paul was also out the first 2 games. So there's no excuse out of those first 2. If you're good enough to win, they were down a player, you guys were down. Chris Paul's coming back. I think the expectation is now for sure they probably should win this series. So I've been on the Suns the whole time. I don't have any Vegas sports books near me, but I think the Suns might have been plus 300 or plus. It was something before the playoffs started, and I was like, man, if you can get to a sports book, I'd take the Suns right now. And I'm not saying I'm going to be right. Clearly, the series isn't over, but I do feel like the Suns are the better team.
First of all, Jordan did not lose to Orlando. That doesn't count. It only counts when you're in the finals. So if you lose before the finals, never happened. He's 6-0. That's what Twitter tells me. He's 6-0. All the other years never happened.
But okay. Well, that might be true. Might be true.
Actually.
Okay, that may be true, but My point is lack of continuity breeds problems. If you watch that, let me tell you how I knew we were going to have problems, and then we can get on to baseball. When I watched them play the Warriors for the play-in game, I knew they were done. And they won the game. Here's the problem. They had terrible defensive rotation. I mean, terrible. When I saw it, I said, there's no way they're going to beat a team that's been playing together all year, hasn't had problems. And you saw it. I mean, look, they were hurt. They were banged up. But you need continuity in the NBA. When you don't have that, bad things happen. I don't care how good you are. Look at the Nets. Yeah, the Nets were one KD toe on the line away, but they still lost the series. And yet they were down players. I get it, but you need continuity. The team didn't play together for half the season. I wasn't picking them to go to the finals. That's just not the way I approach basketball. And maybe I'm biased because I've played the game a long time. Yeah, I'm biased because I played the game a long time. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. And I coach. We got baseball to talk about. I'm excited about baseball. Dean, get this show back on the rails.
I want to keep talking basketball. I have so many thoughts. But yeah, the Lakers thing is like, LeBron and AD, best 1-2 combination in the league, but the worst 3 through 15. And when 1 and 2 is hurt and you have the worst 3 through 15, you're in some serious trouble. And I'll take my L on the Suns. They've stayed healthiest outside of the whole Chris Paul thing, which is whatever. He'll be back tonight. That'll be only going to make the team better, obviously. And good for Campaign. He's getting himself paid, I'm sure, somewhere. This little audition out there.
Campaign is on a campaign to get paid.
My cut by the Bulls like a year or two ago.
My goodness. Hey, Campaign, put that on a T-shirt.
All right. Anything to add there, Andre, as far as basketball? Or I'll take my L on the Suns. I thought they weren't going to get, whatever. I'll make excuses as far as injuries, but they've exceeded. They've been incredible. That alley-oop on the inbound pass, that pass was amazing. The dunk was great. The draw was great. The pick was great. The whole combination, that play was just super. Was that the game you were at, Andre, or no?
No, I was at game 2. I wish I was at that game. I was at game 1. I was at game 1. So,
yeah.
but I got Suns. I got Suns in 4. I got a sweep coming. Chris Paul about to come back tonight and show them why he's the best point guard in the league, and he's going to give it to the Clippers tonight because they got no Kawhi and they got no hope. I'm sorry to say for any Clippers fan. Anyone who doesn't think that, inbox me on Twitter. I'll take your bets and take your money. I'll be glad to. Suns in 4.
All right. Overarching thoughts as far as this slate, Andre. It's a short one, obviously. It seems really clear that bats are rule. I mean, we talked about it a couple of days ago. Like the studs are all out a couple of days ago. We had a couple last night. And there's only so many stud pitchers these days in baseball. There's only so many guys you can rely on. So, short slate, not a number of big arms out there. The one we do have is like Walker Buehler, who's like good, but not like elite. And also, I think it's probably the biggest price tag we've seen on anybody in DK. Like he's higher than anything we've seen on DeGrom or higher than anything we've seen on, I think, any pitcher, basically. Maybe that's because they priced him up because of the slate. They kind of sort of make sense because otherwise, if you use 10K, everybody would roster him. It's a bit of an overspend. And like it's not just him, but like Joe Ross. It's 9 and a hook, like 9.5 for Joe Ross. Like, what are we doing? And you can kind of sort of somewhat play him, I guess. I'm not. We'll talk about my guys in a second, but your thoughts overarching as far as the slate, and then start with pitchers, which, the pool is pretty poor.
Yeah, the pool is pretty poor. I'm really like, what I'm surprised at earliest from looking at this right now is that Nick Pivetta is 31% owned. He should not be 31% owned. And Joe Ross, like he said, those are two pitchers I'm going to be probably out on today. I can't see myself playing them. I think this is an interesting slate, though. There's a lot of good hitting teams on the slate, a lot. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get to Walker Buehler. I'm going to try my best to get as much as I possibly can, but I'm going to have to pay down. But I'm not going to sacrifice playing like a bad pitcher like Nick Pivetta or Joe Ross, who they have not been great lately. I'd rather take a chance on like Carlos Martinez in a better matchup against Pittsburgh, who strikes out, who has a heavy strikeout rate in their lineup. So that's how I'm looking at it as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna pitching pool is obviously gonna be very tight and very small. I'm not gonna play that many. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 pitchers in my pitcher pool today. I love getting to like Jose Barrios a little bit of, as a little bit cheaper than Walker Buehler and a little bit of a one-off. I like Luis Garcia too as well, going against Detroit, but I also like Detroit. I always like Detroit in tournaments and GPP, so that's what I'm going to be getting to a little bit. And Carlos Martinez, like I said before, going against Pittsburgh, I'm going to take a chance on him and have a couple lineups with him, but I'm going to see, try to see if I can keep it higher if possible between Garcia, Barrios, and Buehler if possible.
Oh man, it's so gross when you got to consider Carlos Martinez, and
Yeah.
I personally am not doing it. For the record, that K rate is too low, 15.7%, and there is some strikeouts, but also some contact guys like Newman, 7.1% as far as striking out. Frazier isn't strike out either, but you do have some Ks there, Moran and Polanco, but also Seymour against lefties. It's just such a disaster. And he's, the walk. What is his walk rate? It's 7.8% as far as lefties in particular this season. 6% walk rate against lefties, 15% as far as the Ks, but it's just slim pickings. There's not a lot of good options, and that's why. Well, I'll throw it to Will, but I'm gonna just dig in the barrel and roll out some Anthony K and just 4K on DK Anthony K.
Oh, yeah. I'll have some of him too, a little bit, but not a lot.
I just don't think the opportunity cost is there as far as the pitchers. So my favorite guy is probably, this is DK specific when you consider the price, it's probably Luis Garcia against Detroit. And most likely, Will, for me, my pool is going to be Garcia, Buehler, overspend. But again, the bats rule. So I don't know how much I need Buehler, but if I can get him, if I can make it work, like Miles Straw's leading off, he's super cheap. I want to go that route. It's Garcia, Buehler, K, maybe some Barrios. And I think that's it. I don't think I'm getting the Ross on DK. FanDuel, I can do it because he's like 7.3 or something like that, maybe 7.6. Well, what about yourself, Will? Well, what are you doing as far as the pitchers? Because it's ugly out there.
Well, let's get this up for the people. I am going to try to mostly concentrate on FanDuel today because that's exactly where I'm going to be. But I think, in terms of what I'm doing, quite honestly, I only have two pitchers today on my FanDuel pool, and that's Buehler and Luis Garcia, and that's it. Those are my only two pitchers. I feel like I've got enough of value with the bats. I think because especially some of these upper tier teams like the Braves or the Astros, which we'll get to, they've got so many value bats sprinkled in. Like you can still have quality lineups with the teams you want. So that's going to be my approach today. I do think although Buehler is the most expensive on FanDuel, I still think he's got the highest ceiling. Maybe Luis Garcia is equal considering the matchup. But all in all, I still think Buehler could, he's got a road to 7, 8, 9 Ks where everyone else outside of Barrios could get there as well. But, I feel like Cleveland may be a little bit more pesky than some of these other teams. So I'm willing to fade Barrios for Luis Garcia, and that's kind of going to be the route that I take. I do think Joe Ross at 7,400 is okay, but I don't feel like it's necessary considering the other options that I have.
Yeah, Garcia on the season, 28% K rate. That's pretty solid. 7.8 as far as the walks. That's not ideal, not terrible. He's been distinctly better versus righties as opposed to lefties, striking out 32% righties, just 23% as far as the lefties. And there are just plenty of Ks in this Detroit lineup, but do leading off right to start things off at 31%. You got Haas the bottom at 38%, collectively at 24.3%. Outside of Cameron, just a really, really small sample size. Really knows what 11 at bats he struck out one time, so 9%. But just a lot of Ks in that lineup. Also, there's some win equity too. You got to think Houston. Well, they're well positioned to win this game, and we'll talk about the offenses soon enough. But like Houston offense, Toronto offense, Cincinnati, the Dodgers, the Braves. All five of those, you mentioned like a couple of those teams, it just feels like, you survive pitching and you move on and you get just all the boppers, and we'll talk about them soon enough. Did you have a thought on DK as far as the 4K crapper, talking about with K? Is that Anthony K, pitcher for Toronto? I don't even know if he'll pitch 5 innings. You're probably 70 pitches or something like that, but he's facing Baltimore. If he survives 5, he's got a decent chance to win as well. And if he just gets me like 9 points or 12 points, well, like I'm good with that. I would love you tell me I'm getting 12 points at a K, thrilled.
Yeah, 4K. I mean, he's 4K. Like he's cheaper than probably half of the good bats. Like you just play them, I think.
Why aren't you considering Ross on FanDuel? Is just because you don't need the salary? You're not spending. You're just the stacks you like are kind of sort of cheap, or is Ross just meh?
Yeah, he's just meh. I mean, like, look. So here, I guess here's what I'm saying. So, and I hate to jump ahead to stats, but if you like the Blue Jays, well, the most expensive Blue Jay is Vlad. Everybody else is pretty affordable. If you like Atlanta, the most expensive bat is Acuna, if he plays, and then everybody else is still pretty affordable. You know, if you like the Reds, which I really like the Reds, Jesse Winker's $4K. Everyone else is really affordable. Okay, so you like Houston? Oh, great. Carlos Correa is $4,200. Everyone else is still really affordable. You like the Dodgers? Oh, no problem. Mookie Betts is $4K. Everyone else is really affordable. So I'm just not going to waste my time on FanDuel with Joe Ross and hope he gets 40 fantasy points. I'm going to go with the guys that I think can get 45, no problem, and I'll build around them.
Yeah, I mean, last time out was it last time out where he was fabulous? I know it was recent. I think he had that. Well, no, before against San Francisco, and then he came back down to earth there against the Mets. But Ross, you know, historically is not a big K guy. Obviously, he's in a nice ballpark against a team that's not terribly imposing there in Miami. And if you look at his season-long stats, we're talking, well, I got 22% in the last two seasons. This season specifically, as far as strikeouts, 22.8%. Too many walks. This Miami team, there are some Ks like Jazz and Duvall, Alfaro as well. But there also is some power. Again, not a great ballpark, but he's also better against righties and lefties. You know, pretty dramatic splits historically, and it's just we're looking at two, Sanchez and Jazz, who I think are both really interesting plays. Otherwise, it's a bunch of righties. You know, Andre, jump in here as far as Ross. I guess DK, it's a different conversation depending on the site because I can't see myself paying $9 and change on DK. It's an overspend, and I'd rather spend the money on bats.
Yeah, it is, and I'm actually really trying to dig into it right now because see if I am going to play him. But with the hitters umpire as well, for what I'm seeing that we have up there, is someone I definitely just don't want to get to. And it's just Miami is a team that can hit the ball, but they have a couple of dangerous hitters in line as far as like Chisholm, Marte, Aguilar, and Duvall being in the top four, and even you got power pretty much with the lineup, even all the way down to Alfaro who can hit. So I'm personally rather just take the bats and play and not play Joe Ross at all. And like you said, the price is too expensive. 9.6K is too expensive for him. Even same thing with Nick Pivetta as a pivot. They're both are just expensive, and not worth that. I don't want to pay that much and get 10, 11 fantasy points out of my pitcher. Where I'd rather just go down and take the chance on Anthony Kay against Baltimore, or even Carlos Martinez, and hope for the best. And at that price, and just spend up and hope that the upper echelon pitchers, as far as like Garcia, Berrios, and Buehler, just give me those Ks and end up bringing me where I need to be as far as with a good score.
Yeah, Berrios should be okay. 26% Ks in the season, 6.4% as far as walks. The tricky thing is that Cleveland, not a great lineup, not a ton of power outside of Bradley and Ramirez. They don't strike out a ton. A pretty contact heavy lineup. Collectively, we're looking at 20.6% as far as striking out in the season. But Berrios is also a guy that can go 6 and change. And not many guys in this league can necessarily do that. We have, for Atlanta, who's basically out of pitchers, like Jesse Chavez looks like he's going to draw the start. 37-year-old Jesse Chavez dug him out of the minors. I don't know if he goes more like an inning or two or something like that. Maybe Newcomb gets a couple innings or so. And who was the other guy? Tomlin. He pitched last night for a couple innings, so I don't know if he's available tonight. That's why when we talk about the bats, like Cincinnati, it looks like they're just primed to really pounce. On the other side, Atlanta has got something to pick on as well too. That game as a whole feels really, really tasty. You mentioned the lineup HQ as far as the umpires. We have one extreme hitters umpire. Oh, look at that in Toronto in the Toronto-Baltimore game. No other. Let's see. We don't have anything for Buehler just yet. Everywhere else, it's either one way or the other incrementally. No extremes, but anything else that's worth. I mean, pitching is really quick and easy. I guess you can say, Andre. Do you want to give us a summary? Normally you spend a little more time, but what's really to say? It's an ugly collection.
Yeah, it's an ugly collection. It just honestly, I feel like just try to play as much Walker Buehler as you can, or Garcia. even though I personally like Detroit. But if you want to play it, do it. I'm gonna have some Garcia too as well. But I think those two pitchers are gonna be my highest. Probably even Anthony K. I can see it being either my second or my third highest because of just the price point of 4K, and it allowed me to get some bats in there. But GPP shots definitely on like Carlos Martinez is definitely worth it. As far as the pay to me, as far as instead of spending up on like a Pavetta or a Ross. So those are the two. That's why I would go towards and look to use and see what happens and hope for the best. Because like I said, it's just ugly tonight. It's gonna probably hopefully be a high scoring night just from the hit, the bats on the other end. But pitching is not gonna produce, I think, on a high level like we would expect normally from a lot of good pitchers, since it's not a good pitching slate.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's why I'm comfortable playing K at 4K, and just because who am I missing out? If I don't roster K, oh no, who am I not going to have? Like, there's nobody. I'm sure somebody will exceed expectations and whatever, and hopefully I have some of that guy, paired with a guy like K. Bueller, good pitcher, but 23.8% Ks in the season, 5.3% walks. Like, that's good, but that's not elite. Of course, Chicago offers a lot of strikeouts in their lineup as well, too. It's not out just yet, but there's going to be some K guys, I assume, if Wisdom and Contreras and Baez, there's power there, but they strike out plenty as well. For me, I think Luis Garcia is my favorite. Like, I'm going to have Luis Garcia. I'm going to try to pair him with Bueller. If I can't pair him with Bueller and DK, I'm fine pairing him with K. Those are my three main guys on DK. But close us out on pitchers, Will. What's your final thoughts? I know you just said you're running two guys and two guys only, and I assume you're going to stick with that.
Yeah, just because I'm mostly playing FanDuel, that's kind of what I'm going to do. Just sticking with those guys. I just don't see a reason to venture out for uncertainty, right? I'm going to have enough of that with my bats anyway. I don't care how good a team looks on paper. They cannot hit the ball and score any runs for some reason. So I'd at least rather have some form of certainty with pitching tonight, considering the pool we have. Like, I don't, if you threw, Chris Flexen on this slate, God, we might be talking about Chris Flexen. I mean, that's how bad this slate is. So I don't want to get involved with these bottom of the barrel guys. But that's on FanDuel. Like I said, on DK, when K is 4K, you have to consider it. It's like the day I was all in on Gomber from Colorado. In Colorado, he's 5,500, and I mean, he went on and put up 20. Like, that's what you're looking for. So, and that was a DK play, but kind of the same scenario with K today.
Yeah, not a huge sample, but K so far this season, 24.7% as far as the Ks, 12.3% as far as walks. That's not good, but it's not a very patient lineup for Baltimore. Outside of Mancini, this lineup doesn't really walk at all. Mullins a little bit too, but collectively it's 7.3% as far as walking. And we're being honest, there's not a lot of Ks in this lineup. Baltimore doesn't strike out a lot versus lefties. This isn't like K's a good play. I don't feel good. The other day we ranked our stacks. Like, rank your stack. How do you feel? Like a 5, you feel great. 1, you feel terrible about it. There's no 5s. There's no 5s as far as the pitchers in the slate. It's just survival mode. Like, K is like a 2, 2.5, whatever it is. Hopefully,
Bueller's going to go out and get almost 30 tonight, Dean. He might get 30. The Cubs are like, I say the same thing every show. Chris Bryant's going to hit a home run and nobody else is going to do anything.
Okay, but 11.5 on DK. The way the pitching pricing, and I know you're playing on FanDuel, so and so use 11K with FanDuel, but 11.5 is that is more when you compare them to like other prices and other pitchers on different slates, and every slate's different. But that price is wrong, especially on a slate where there's 5 teams that I love as far as offense.
Well, that's true, but I mean, I'm looking at the DK prices right now.
Who do you like?
And half of Atlanta is under 4K. Over half.
Yeah.
Over half Atlanta. The Reds are affordable. Half of the Blue Jays are affordable. Half of Houston is affordable. I mean, heck, Miles Straw's leading off for 2.5K. Michael Brantley's 4,200. Nobody's broken 5K except Carlos Correa. You could just legit, and Yordan Alvarez, but you don't have to play those guys. I'm not saying fade Alvarez. I'm saying I think there's a world where you could still play Bueller on DK. And anyway, you get what I'm saying.
You actually can.
I'm just saying these teams are really affordable. compared to what we're used to for some of these better teams. Like they've got so many bats, 2K, 3K, and I'm talking about DK pricing, even though I'm playing mostly FanDuel. I mean, even when I look at the Dodgers, like Beatty 36, Gavin Lux 41, you can get away with it. The Dodgers are probably the most expensive team on DK that you're probably like, I might not be able to play them tonight if I'm playing Bueller. Every other team that you like, I think you can get Bueller and that team.
For some reason, the DK algorithm just like hates the Astros. Like we see Brantley is always too cheap. We see Tucker is always too cheap. Like finally Alvarez is like in the mid fives, but he was always too cheap. Where we're starting to get, and I feel like the Astros have been in the chalk like all week long. Like Baltimore, now they're at Detroit against Urania, who's just, especially the lefties, he's absolutely brutal versus lefties. Locked in for 9 innings. All right, Andre, give me your approach. We're gonna go around the horn in a second. And again, what up, chat? We do ask you to like and subscribe, turn on notifications. If you guys want premium content here at Rotogrinders, you know what to do. Get yourself $10 off the first month. You can get it just one sport, baseball, or all the sports with the exception of NASCAR. Well, we still have plenty of basketball content out there. Of course, college football, NFL, esports when that's all in season. Golf, our golf team is awesome here. $10 off. You guys go ahead and click that link there in chat. Devin went ahead and dropped it for you guys. Your approach before we go around the horn, and also like load up some questions there in chat too. Yeah, fire up some questions. Cash on your tournament, what site? Let us know. The more details, the better. You can even request a person that they'll answer the question for you. How about you can name request if you want, or you can throw it up there and we'll make sure somebody will knock it out for you. All right. As far as this slate, how are we approaching it, Andre? It's from a tournament perspective. Are you thinking 5 freeze, 5-2-1? Is that a way you will look at things? Or to me, it feels like there's so many good offenses. I don't know if I need 5. I'm looking for 3-3-2. I think pieces from multiple teams are going to go off.
Yeah, I think pieces from multiple teams are going to go off, but I feel like in a way it's going to be harder. In my opinion, I think it's harder to focus on bats unless you have a narrow pool. So me personally, I'm running like a lot of 5-2s, 5-3s, and some 4-3s, just to get my approach is going to be just load up on the teams and have as many teams as I possibly can that I like and that are in good hitting positions. I can't even decide who my top 5 is because there's a number of good teams that I like on the slate. And it's such an amount of good hitting teams. But that's what I'm gonna try to do and try to also think about like who's like the most expensive, like who are the top owned pitchers that are people playing, obviously outside of like Walker Buehler. Like we know like it is with Ross we have and Pavetta, and that are pretty much going to get some ownership. So I'm going to try to target those 2 teams specifically because I know Miami can hit. We know Tampa Bay can hit. So I'm not afraid to get different and probably maybe get a little bit over the field in those type of lineups and have them in my player pool. And then even also with Detroit against Luis Garcia, I'm not afraid to roster them a little bit too, just to get different and just have full stacks pretty much of each team and just hope that the team goes off and maybe have a couple of the one-offs and see what happens that way.
How many live final tickets do you have right now compiled?
So far only 3 and they're all on FanDuel. I've been trying to chase this DK one for a while. So, but hopefully tonight I'll get another FanDuel seat.
Will, you heard that, only 3.
Yeah, only 3.
You're disappointing everybody. What do you? How many can you have? Can you have 5? What's the max?
I think it's 5.
5 or 7, one of the 2.
Well, maybe you'll find out soon enough. They'll cut you off.
Hopefully.
Will, you want to do catcher for us? It's I mean, I know you're playing on FanDuel and you're probably playing basically no catchers.
Oh no, I've got catchers, bro.
Oh,
I always have catchers on FanDuel. Like nobody plays them. I mean, that's a way to get different really quick. I'll tell you all the catchers I have on FanDuel. I don't mind. I pray to God that Will Smith is catching today. Oh my gosh, he's 2,700. You know I like to rattle off some numbers. Let me rattle off these numbers against Davies because Davies is going to be mostly throwing sinker. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Smith is going to destroy some sinkers tonight. Listen to these numbers here. 529 WOBA, 350 ISO, 43% hard hit rate, 97% contact rate, and a 2.9% whiff rate. God, Will Smith feels like an automatic dong. I'm going to have plenty of Will Smith tonight on FanDuel. He's absolutely my favorite catcher. If you can get him on DK, by all means, please get him in your lineup. Outside of that, everybody, I don't have any catchers outside of Stacks. So And Austin Hedges popped up, I guess, because he's playing. Let me get rid of him right now. But I'll have Tucker Barnhart, Martin Maldonado, Reese McGuire, Will Contreras, and Will Smith. That tells you every team I'm stacking tonight. And those are the 5 catchers that I'm going to have on FanDuel.
No Atlanta lineup just yet, unless I'm missing it or it hasn't popped up on my Twitter timeline. About an hour before the game starts, we're assuming, we talked about this pre-show, we're assuming it's because they're deciding on Acuna, who got late scratch the other day. I'm guessing that's what's going on there. Maybe, I mean, Chavez, I imagine, is still the starting pitcher. We shall see. Just going to keep an eye on that. Will, can you get Andre? Can you get excited about any catchers on DK? I mean, there's a lot of cheapies. I don't know who's going to be good.
Yeah, I just ran like I just ran a lot just right now, and Will Smith is my highest owned catcher, so I'm gonna have a lot of him.
Bro.
I'm gonna have a lot of him today. Yonder Molina is my next highest catcher, which I like a lot, especially as part of the St. Louis stacks going against who's the pitcher in that matchup again? Goodness gracious.
Well, we're picking on Zach Davies. You're talking about
Zach. No, Zach.
Over St. Louis.
For St. Louis, yes, St. Louis.
Oh, Chad Cole. He's terrible.
Yeah, Chad Cole. So I have a lot. Actually, I'm getting a lot of St. Louis bats too in my lineups too as well. So I like them a lot today as well. So I'm gonna try to have a little bit of mixture and just put it with my stacks mainly. And Eric Haas, that's who my third highest. I'm highest on as far as catcher wise because I like Detroit. That's just like a personal thing of mine. I think that they're gonna hopefully pitch do well and just have a little bit of contrarian lineups in there in the tournaments, and hopefully they come out do well for me. And Tucker Bernhardt, the Cincinnati Reds, they're probably like I'm debating they're my top stack of the night, but I love Cincinnati in general as a whole.
I like Cincy as well.
Tucker Bernhardt, I think they're gonna put up a lot of runs. I think he's gonna hit a home run too, but I pretty much gonna do like what Will is doing too, as well as like having pretty much the catcher be a part of most majority of my stacks.
Acuna officially out. Devin in my ear. Thank you for that. I guess that means their lineup is out as well too. And does that take you off the Brave stack? Does any of it? I mean, obviously
Negative.
you're not playing Acuna.
I'm still all in on the Braves. I mean, honestly, this helps them get cheaper. They're probably going to play Guillermo Heredia. That's my assumption. I think that's who. I seriously think that's who's going to play. He's probably 2K or less, 3K or less on both sides. And let me just give this little tidbit out too. On FanDuel, every catcher that I like is 2% or less. And Martin Maldonado is the 2% catcher. I don't know how in the world we've got him projected for a higher ownership projection than Will Smith. That's insane.
Salary. It's salary reasons.
It's a $600 difference, Steve. That's not that big. Okay, well, it's salary. Tucker Barnhart is projected for 0.25%, which is less than Martin Maldonado. Get out of here. And so I don't even have to go that high. I'm trying to get about 20% Will Smith, and I'm trying to get about 7 to 8% on Barnhart. Everybody else, I'm kind of capping them out at like 5, but I don't have to go that crazy. We got them projected at 1%. I mean, it's easy.
I don't know where Devin found that, but I trust Devin. I don't see it on Twitter, but maybe I'm doing a really bad job at multitasking over here. All right. Who wants to lead us off as far as first base? First base is where the good bats start rolling in. Vladdy, Freeman. I assume Freeman's in that lineup. Gurriel on that Houston team. The Houston side looks pretty positive. I know you prefer the lefties as opposed to the righties against Urania, but he's still, in the heart of that lineup. Muncy for the Dodgers for sure. Andre, you want to start us off as far as first base because it's pretty loaded for a 7-gamer.
Yeah, it is. And I love getting to some of like the lower end guys as far as like Gurriel. I like him. Alex Kirilloff. I like getting him in my lineup too. I like some. Also like some Minnesota stacks. It's a lot of stacks I like tonight. It's gonna be hard. I might have to play a little bit.
It was. I cut Minnesota out, by the way. Like they were like my last one in, and I was like, I'm cutting them.
Yeah, I couldn't. It's hard, but I definitely like Kirilloff a lot, and I like Sano as well. So those are 2 hitters I definitely love to get. Jesus Aguilar, I love playing him against Ross. just because I know Ross going to be a little bit popular. So, and obviously you could get a little bit of Trey Mancini and Ryan Mountcastle against K, just to be a little bit different and just get a little more of a contrarian build than going against the pitchers the popular pitcher that everyone's going to play. I do also like Paul Goldschmidt, a part of the St. Louis stacks. So those are some of my favorite ones. And Joey Votto too as well. He's going to be 1% owned. And I love Cincinnati today, like I said again. So I'm going to have a lot of him if I possibly can in my lineups. I might end up Cincinnati might be end up being like my highest owned stack of the night, obviously.
I've done a bad job here, Will, as far as time management. So we got to pick up the pace. Is there anything you want to add there as far as first base? Feel free to do so and kick off second.
Let's go second. We'll just roll along. Muncie, Simeon, Albies, India, Lux, Farmer, Panic, Chris Taylor. That's my pools. Full disclosure.
That's half of them. How do you narrow that down, though? I know you're going to be playing them all.
But some of them are first base, second base. Some are second base, shortstop. Some are second base, outfield. Some are second base, third. So I'll have enough. My player pool is actually real small. Let me tell you why. And that way we can move on with the show. I'm only playing bats in my stats. I have 0 one-offs today. I have 5 teams: Atlanta, Cincinnati, Toronto, Houston, LA. Those are my 5, and I'm not using any bats from any other team. So I'm getting real condensed today because I think if I feel like these teams are going to tee off, then I think the 3 home run game is coming from one of the bats in this game. So I'm going to have every bat from all of those teams. 0 bats from anywhere else, and that's just me. I'm getting real condensed today, so that's my approach. So any second base, third, anybody you hear is going to be out of that stack. I don't have anybody else outside of that.
Yeah, I would also just add. I like that concept, but I would add Jazz Chisholm. I think he's kind of an interesting player. That's not on your stacks.
Correct.
And the 5 teams you mentioned, I think are the five best teams on the board. That's kind of.
But guess what? Half of them are going to be very low owned. Like nobody's playing the Reds, nobody's playing the Dodgers. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm still going to get low-owned bats because everybody wants to play the Blue Jays and the Braves.
Andre, what do you have to add to that? Did you like that concept of just like saying these are the 5 teams, only players in these 5 teams, crossing everybody out? Are you good with that? And feel free to add anything as far as second base.
Yeah, definitely. But I also like I said, some contrarian lineups in there too. Like since I am playing only like full stacks of teams for the most part with some one-offs. So Miami is another team that I love in Detroit. And I'm obviously Minnesota too, who I spoke about. Those are some of the teams I like to play. You know, Minnesota's supposed to be popular. I don't know how popular they're going to be when it comes down. So I'm going to show it towards the end. Second base, I like Albies. I like Polanco. I like Jazz Chisholm today as well. And I like Jonathan Scoop against Garcia too as well. Just some of the players I like. Obviously Max Muncy. I love him today. Dodgers are gonna destroy today. It's just such a good matchup. And who else is one more guy?
Are we assuming
like?
Betts is back?
India.
Or we don't have a lot of just yet, but we assume that was just like a 1-day thing or a 2-day thing. Was he back last night? I'm forgetting now.
I don't think he was back.
Oh, he didn't play last night.
Okay,
He
yeah.
did not play last night.
Well, we're expecting him back tonight.
Yeah.
He was just ill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Jonathan India too as well.
He's really cheap on FanDuel. He's kind of pricey on DK.
He's been like 5K for weeks on DK. I don't know what's going on.
And 2.6? He's 2.6 on FanDuel. Like I think he's going to be amongst the Cincinnati. He's going to be reasonably popular. I just throwing this out there.
We got him projected at 7%, Dean. 7%.
Oof. I mean, I'll take the over on 7.
Cincy is projected. Nobody's over 10% on Cincy on FanDuel, and I'm going to roll with that. I think that's correct.
Third base, I would throw Eugenio Suarez there for Cincinnati, starting off hot corner. Andre, feel free to take over. Lefties, Craig Cavan Biggio there against Kremer. That Toronto side's got a team total over 6. They're back in a positive ballpark up there in Buffalo. What else do you have to add there, Andre, as far as third baseman?
Yeah, Biggio, I like Franco just to go a little bit against K a little bit. Joe Panic as well, who's always someone who's left out of the Toronto stacks. I love playing him and having him in stacks. Birdie from Miami, I like just having him a little bit, just be different. Even though I know he doesn't, he hits well sometimes, and not often. Suarez too is only 2% on DK. I love getting to him and just getting to the stack as a whole. And obviously Chris Bryant as a one-off is a great option too.
Don't forget 7-hole Abraham Toro.
Yes, Abraham Toro. Sorry, I'm just trying to hurry.
He is a lefty against your.
That's what I'm telling you.
Oof.
It's crazy.
Anything else to add there, Will, as far as third? Or
I mean, I got some Joe Panic, just because he's in my Toronto stacks.
Okay, go to shortstop if you don't mind.
Yeah, Correa, Bo Bichette, Simeon, Suarez, Gavin Lux, Dansby Swanson, and Kyle Farmer. Those are my shortstop. And keep in mind, folks, I'm on FanDuel, Dre's on DK. So if you hear something different, like you might say, oh, well, this guy's really expensive. I'm on FanDuel, Dre's on DK, and that's how you can we can bridge the gap for you.
142 hitters faced by Urania this year from the left side. 142. 7.7% walks, 10.8%. I'm sorry, 7.7% Ks, 10.6% as far as walks. I mean, that's just so terrible. I don't want to play Toro, but he is super, super cheap. And if he kind of makes things work, I'm in on that. I'm okay with that. We have shortstop, correct? I'm sorry. I'm on Twitter. I'm trying to figure out where this Atlanta lineup is, and it's driving me nuts. I can't find it. So I can't focus. Andre, knock out some shortstops for us.
Jorge Polanco, Carlos Correa, Jazz Chisholm, well, second base and shortstop eligible. So on DK, I love him. Kyle Farmer, so I'd like to get into it. Part of those stats. Freddie Galvis, this will be different on Get Off a K. And then we got Switch even Roguelike Garcia. I like him to be different, a part of your Houston stacks. Bo Bichette, obviously, is a great play today. I'm going to be probably a high owned play. Marcus Simeon as well, too. And I said Jorge Polanco, I believe already, but yeah, he's a great play, too.
What would you like
Gavin
to...
Lux.
Oh, we do have the Dodger lineup. We didn't get Atlanta. We have the Dodgers. Let me go ahead and read that off.
Betts is leading off.
Yeah, Betts is back. Muncy, Taylor, Bellinger, Pujols, Pollock, Lux, burying the 7-0. Oh, man, your praying did not work, Will. I'm sorry. You got Austin Barnes, the catcher. So...
Oh, God. Well, guess what? I will have Austin Barnes. I won't have Will Smith. But I'm still stacking the Dodgers. It is what it is.
Yeah, well, Dave Roberts is not he's not looking out for you, unfortunately.
Yep. He doesn't care about my fantasy lineup.
He doesn't care about game like 75 in the season. He cares about the playoffs. All right, let's talk about some outfielders. Houston, of course, once again, for like the fourth day in a row. All of them are interesting out there. We talk about lefties versus Urania, who like almost definitely is going to walk Alvarez, right? He wants no part of Alvarez, just going to walk him. But if he doesn't walk him, Alvarez is going to absolutely smack him. Tucker is still too cheap there. Springer, we talked about he's not going to be playing baseball this evening. Acuna's out as well. Castellanos, I'll hand it off to you, Will. Castellanos, I imagine, is somebody you're on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, out in the outfield, I mean, there's options galore. I really like Mookie Betts coming back. Jesse Winker, if you can get to him on both sides. Cody Bellinger is going to be a favorite of mine. Kyle Tucker, Tyler Naquin, Abraham Almonte, Miles Straw leading off. I think Ender Inciarte is probably going to crack the lineup. I'm wondering if they're going to flip him and let him lead off now that Acuna is out and maybe put Guillermo Heredia at the bottom of the order. I'm really interested to see what they do there. But that's kind of where I'm at. Everybody's revolving around stacks. So I got to go and get some Albert Pujols in my first base pool real quick.
I think they had Swanson lead off yesterday for what it's worth.
They did.
That doesn't mean, doesn't mean they're married to that, obviously. Andre, feel free to add to some outfielders and tell me some of your favorite stacks before you knock out some questions from the chat.
Outfield. Sorry, Jesse Winker, Mookie Betts. Love those two for sure. I like against a little bit of Nelson Cruz, JD Martinez against Waka, who I don't think anyone's really going to be on Boston a lot too. So I have a little bit of them. Nick Castellanos, I like him too, going against Chavez. Teoscar Hernandez, someone I really like too as well. I even like getting all the way. Mastro's will be popular. I'm part of obviously the Houston stack. And I like also getting to it's one of the guy down here that I was looking at. The Endor Incarnate, I believe, the Atlanta guy. Inciarte, yes. I like getting to him. A little bit of part of some if I'm running a little bit of Atlanta stacks. That's a little bit of a low owned GPP play. Some of my favorite stacks, it's hard. I like Cincinnati a lot. I like Houston a lot. I like the Dodgers. Goodness gracious. I like that's like my top three like stats I like hitting. Like also St. Louis as a dark horse. I also like Detroit as a dark horse a little bit, and Miami. Probably Miami. If you want to flip the order, St. Louis, St. Louis, Miami, then Detroit in that order.
Let's run these down pretty quickly. We played this a couple days ago. Give me a 1 through 5. 1, you don't like the stack at all. 5, you love it. Will, you go first. Andre, you go second. Will, Miami, 1 through 5. Miami stack.
3.
4.
Oakland? Is Oakland playing on the slate?
Oakland played earlier. Oakland played earlier.
You know what, Devin? This is the second day in a row. He's got to proofread these questions. Oh, I always praise Devin, but yeah, Oakland's a 0. You're not playing Oakland. I don't know what they did earlier today. Couldn't tell you. Will, what do you have for me as far as the Baltimore stack?
3.
Andre?
I'm at a 3-2 with them.
Pittsburgh?
Honestly, Pittsburgh's a 2 for me today. I don't trust Martinez. He's been getting smacked all year.
Wait a second. That means you like him more.
Yeah.
I know.
What means you don't like the stack?
Huh?
Oh, I thought.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I got you. Oops. I reversed the numbers in my head.
Whoa,
and
yeah.
way,
So 5 is bad.
Yeah, 5 is the best.
5 is good. 1 is bad.
Oh, okay.
So Pittsburgh's a 4. Pittsburgh's a 4.
Hold on, no, that means they're good.
Yeah, I know. Pittsburgh's a 4 for me, but I'm just not playing them.
Andre, you're the only one that likes C-Mart, I think, amongst the three of us. I think I figured that out. But I get it. It's because what else are you going to play?
I'm gonna say 2 on them.
Polanco is a BBP guy, by the way. If you guys, and if you're team BBP, you took some victory laps yesterday with Mike Zunino and Machado. Both hit homers there. More questions here from the chat. Well, yeah, why is Ross price so high? I don't know. We don't make the pricing. It doesn't make any sense. But like maybe they just realized
I think it's trying to slate. He's probably got a little bit more upside than everybody else that's down there, and so they're kind of dangling the carrot. You know, they price Bueller up, and you're probably thinking, "Oh, I can't get the Bueller." But if Ross can just get me 17, I can play him at night. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Well, we got a question here. They're asking, any Waka love, or am I wacko?
Nope.
So wacko.
Nope.
Poteet, did Poteet make the cut for you?
Little Poteet, no.
Do we like Jock Peterson revenge action? Nobody's going to play. I mean, he's interesting. Like, lefty. I assume he's going to probably lead off here. I don't know if you want to call it a leverage play, Andre. Do you have any thoughts? We're not getting a site specific. That's why I'm just kind of jumping around as far as what to ask. But Jock Jams, is he in the pool for you?
He is in my pool right now, but I don't know how much Chicago stats I'm getting to right now. I'm not getting too many. Probably like maybe 2 or 3.
DK GPP thoughts. I think this is for Andre as well because you're a DK. Thoughts on Davies? We're not playing Davies, right? I mean, it's ugly, but it's not that ugly.
No, I'm not playing Davies at all. He was not one of my 5 pitchers in my player pool today.
Andre, this is also DK. Freeman or Vlad? Tough call. They're both really good, obviously.
I'm gonna say Vlad today.
Well, you're just kind of hanging out because we're asking DK specific questions here. Single entry, can you rank if you can do a 5-man stack, Andre, Cincinnati, Atlanta, and Cleveland, who do you have the most of as far as 5-man stack?
Cincinnati.
I do have a note here that talks about, so a beat writer does say Acuna is out for the Braves lineup. He's dealing with a back. We still don't have the lineup yet, so they haven't officially released the entire lineup unless. Let's give it a refresh one more time before we step aside and make way for Crunch Time. Crunch Time today, Kevin Roth. He's going to be talking some weather, if there's any weather out there lurking. STL cards, and Dave Potts. Cheese is good. No, still no. How do they? This is your team, Will. What's going on there with the Atlanta? Why do we not have a lineup in Atlanta?
Acuna's a big bat, man. They want to wait until the last minute. They're pulling some NBA action to see. They're trying to see if AD's going to suit up today. And he's not, so they're ruling him out late.
They're gaming the system. Like they're right now, the Reds, they're trying to figure out who to game plan for. They're scrambling. They don't know what to do. Gamesmanship going on there in both those dugouts for sure. Anybody have a bold call or a homer before we step aside and make way for Crunch Time? Andre, give me what's going to win this slate? Is there one player? Is there one stack? Is there something like who's going to bang out 2 homers? What do you have for me?
I'm gonna say Miami is one of the top scoring teams on the slate today.
All right, we'll see that bold proclamation and raise it.
Yeah, I know I was on Miami the last show and needed them to score, and they did not. So I'm not giving up Miami. But here's what I will say: I think one thing me and Drake can agree on: the Reds might score 15 runs tonight, and I'm not kidding. I love the Reds. I have so much Cincinnati today; it's not even funny.
Do you want a random bold call that you can do nothing with? It's not helpful in any way possible. Aristides Aquino hits a pinch hit homer. There you go.
All right.
He's going to come in and spell the Daquin at some point. It's completely worthless. Useless information. You can't do anything with that. You can't roster the guy, but he's going to hit a homer like in the 6th inning. All right, we got to step aside. We got to get out of here. That was Dre. That was Will. That was baseball. I was Dean. Y'all be good. Holler.